We got to talk about the trade deadline, the winners and losers.
Man, I saw the Brandon Ingram, man. I thought we were.
I thought we were close.
I thought we were almost there, and then he got shipped to Toronto.
Yeah, there were a lot of names I wanted that ended up getting shipped. But let's just go ahead and get into these winners and losers. So I do think a big low-key winner was the Cleveland Cavaliers. As good as they've been playing this year, nobody expected them to be better than Boston. And they ended up making the trade to get DeAndre Hunter from Atlanta. Atlanta, they're kind of set for the future as far as that. Both of those forward spots are concerned. Jalen Johnson was having a breakout season this year before he got hurt. So I think they're kind of in tank mode. Let's go get another draft pick and improve next season. But Dyson Daniels, they call him the great barrier thief. I think he's been leading the league in steals for most of this year. He's one of the most improved defensive players in basketball this year. And with Zachariah Reichier, the French dude that they drafted in the top 3 last year, they were kind of clogged at that position. So for them to move off, for Atlanta to move off of him, I thought it was going to happen. I just wish it was to one of our teams that we root for, mainly the Mavericks.
Yeah, Texas Tech fans are definitely familiar with DeAndre Hunter's game. He was the one that hit the three-pointer to send it into overtime in the national title game in 2019.
Yeah,
stings a little bit, but we are very familiar with DeAndre Hunter's game.
He was.
He's playing his great basketball right now. He's going to fit in seamless with Cleveland. So
he's having a career year scoring wise, and he's been pretty much the sixth man. So he's been dependable points off the bench. He's not the greatest three-point shooter in the world, but he is a solid defensive player. He was Defensive Player of the Year in college whenever he was coming out. So hats off to Cleveland for making that move. Also, another big winner, I think the Spurs to get De'Aaron Fox, a Texas boy, to come down to San Antonio to team up with Wemby. I think he's about 27 years old, but he's going to have a long time to play with Wemby, and they could even make a run this year with the talent that Wemby is. He just keeps getting better and better, but it'll be interesting to see. But everybody knows who the biggest winner is. It's the L.A. Lakers. Not only did they get Luka Doncic from our Dallas Mavericks, but the late Wednesday night trade to end up pulling out Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets, to where I've had Mark Williams on my fantasy team a little bit this basketball season, and I want to say the last 30 days, he's a top 5 center in the NBA. Now, of course, I'm not including like the guys who don't want to play center, like our new big man, Anthony Davis or Giannis. But like if you're talking about these traditional centers like Jokic, I want to say he's right behind Jokic and Wemby as far as the most productive center in the last 30 days. So hats off to the Lakers. Pretty much I heard that they kind of got what Anthony Davis has been begging for. It's like y'all making moves to make moves. It's like they playing fantasy with no keepers over here. But yeah, I just think for Luka to have that lob threat and Mark Williams, he's not the best defensive center as far as him reaching that potential yet. But at 7 foot, 240, 250 pounds, he was a beast at Duke. I think this is only his third year, so I think he's 23 years old. So the future's bright for him and Luka in LA. But those are my 3 big winners. But I will say that Jimmy Butler won the standoff. So you got to consider him a winner in that aspect as well. Who do you got as far as winners go in the NBA trade deadline this year?
Yeah, so Jimmy Butler got paid. He got his contract. So props to him for joining Steph out there. I don't know how they're going to do, to be honest with you. But, I mean, he's a dog.
Yeah, and for them to not have to give up Kuminga to do it, that was amazing. But Andrew Wiggins, it's like if Andrew Wiggins cares about playing basketball and Jimmy Butler doesn't, then I guess they're interchangeable for Miami because you'll at least get the effort from Andrew Wiggins. I don't know how he fits Heat culture because, once some boys go out to Cali and have that access to medical marijuana, a lot of them don't want to leave. But we'll see as far as that goes.
Yeah, so a couple of other winners. I did like what Toronto did, getting Brandon Ingram. He's a guy we talked about last week on the show. The Spurs getting De'Aaron Fox was big. And then, man, it's stupid, right? Of course, the Lakers are the winners. But I'll wait and see. We talked about it on our emergency Luka pod. Like,
emergency.
This Mavericks team, man. They went out and beat Boston without PJ and without AD. Both are going to be back
Free
tomorrow.
Klay Thompson.
Both of them are going to be back tomorrow. I mean, I don't want to say they won the deadline because they definitely did not with getting rid of Luka, but I'm willing to see what this team's going to look like on the court. So I'll throw them in there as far as on court, winners, because with AD playing the 4, Gaff and Lively doing their thing, when Lively's healthy, we're going to be long. PJ pushed down to the 3. So I'm optimistic, I guess is the right word.
If this team is built for the 90s.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about that. And then what was the other big? The other big winner has to be, I guess, Kevin Durant calling his shot.
Yeah, saying yes.
Saying,
no.
I don't want to go to Golden State. Like, I don't want to go back. I'll give Kevin Durant his flowers here, and he's somebody that the Mavs tried to go after hard, and will probably try to go after hard again in the summer. So that's something to watch. But the losers, again, it's the Mavericks. You don't give up a 25-year-old generational superstar like Luka. It still stings. Nico didn't even show up at the press conference today, which I understand part of that. I do. You want the players to kind of get their shine, but what introductory press conference have you ever seen where the GM's not there?
A scared GM.
He is scared. And then, man, let's just go ahead and throw this out there too. Any of the Mavs fans that are actually sending death threats and like threatening stuff to Nico, like, let's grow up a little bit.
Yeah, that's why.
Like, Tim McMahon's out there reporting that the Mavs are beefing up security and he's got to have security at his house. And like, but my thing is, what the dude expect?
Yeah.
Like, trading Luka, like, you knew there was going to be crazy backlash. So I don't wish any ill will on Nico. I don't. But I don't appreciate him tanking the next decade of my franchise either.
Here's what I've been trying to compare it if somebody else was to do this trade.
Nico's the big loser of the deadline.
That's my number one loser is Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison is the biggest loser because I'm still a Mavs fan for life. But what you're going to have to deal with if you don't win a championship, or even if you do, like, who knows if you, like, people trying to make sure you don't make it to a championship. They want you, like, you over here got security. Like, this is almost like it's the scariest sports situation in DFW since Mitch Williams' house got messed up whenever he blew the World Series for was it
the Phillies?
Was it the Phillies back in the day? Yeah. Because I remember his house got vandalized.
That was the Joe Carter.
Yeah, the Joe Carter, yeah. Yeah, shout out Joe Carter, Blue Jays.
I put it in the call.
Oh yeah,
during that game, that was the Joe Carter. I telling my dad, I'm sitting there 7, 8 years old. It was 93, so I would have been 8.
Yeah,
and I said, Dad, this guy's got the power to hit it out. Next pitch, boom.
Got him. Yeah,
shout out Joe Carter.
Shout out Joe Carter. And Kirby Puckett, all those OGs from back in the day. No doubt. Yeah, like you said, Nico's a big loser. I think that Nico's a big loser. I feel like Zach LaVine kind of caught an L because with all this trade talk, you would expect that if you get traded from the Bulls, you would go to a more of a contender and not a team that got you to get rid of De'Aaron Fox. Because I think that if you had De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis, that's a playoff team. And so I think that they kind of stayed the same by making that trade. And Zach LaVine, you hope whenever you get traded and you're on a bad team that you're going into a winning situation to where it's like, man, Mavericks should have went after him. I know he'd be a lot happier here. So I would say that Zach LaVine's a loser in the situation. I would say the Bucks as well. The Bucks ended up trading Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma, and Kyle Kuzma's having a career down year. And I just think that the experience that Middleton has, the role that he knows playing with the Bucks, playing with Giannis, playing with Brook Lopez, like he's that player who stretches out who frees up the space for Giannis to attack the basket. And I know he's having a bad year, but he missed most of it due to injury. So I would just think that they would just let it ride out and let him, because at the end of the day, I just feel like it's kind of. They're not really the contender.
Kyle Kuzma's not that guy.
Yeah, Kyle Kuzma, yes, he has championship experience, but that's because he was on that Lakers team that had Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and it was a bubble championship. Let's not forget that. But yeah, I would say the Bucks, and really the biggest loser out of all this, the NFL.
Yeah,
This is like the least hyped Super Bowl week ever. And who would have thought that going into Saturday that nobody'd be talking? Because it was all trade talk until Friday.
Yeah.
And I think that they finally started talking football today. As far as it's like, come on, guys, the Super Bowl's this week. So I just think the NFL has been the biggest loser as far as all this goes, because the trade deadline was all the talk this week once Luka got moved. And if Luka can get moved, then you have more speculation than ever because nobody's untouchable at that point. So
what do you think of this conspiracy theory that this happened because of the NFL playing on Christmas and having Beyonce come out and the NFL taking
I've heard
Christmas?
that. I've heard to give California something to root for since the tragedies that just happened there recently. Yeah. And to me, it's like if I wasn't from here, then I'd be all about it. But I am from here, so I hate it. I hate it. Not but at least it went to LA, and I'll still root Luka on because I'm a guy like I root for guys when they come into the league, and then I want to see how they progress. So I'll still be rooting for him, just not when he's playing against us.
Well, I tell you what, I do not. There's a team I don't want to see in the playoffs, and that's any team that has Luka Doncic on it.
Yep. Especially if you're the Mavericks. You don't want that. You
don't want that smoke.
No. All right. But the one thing I am hoping for is that maybe one of these big buyout options, like maybe like a Bruce Brown, I'm hearing words that he might get bought out. There's some rumblings that Malcolm Brogdon might get bought out. I think he'd be a perfect fit to what we have right here. If they care about defense so much, go get Brogdon. But we'll see. We'll see. But I'm just hoping that the Mavericks can at least do something as far as the buyout option route. Hey, I don't know about Ben Simmons. I know that if we care about defense, then go get Ben Simmons. But that shows that you're really committed to defense, Nico.
And let's go ahead and give Max Christie some shine here.
Yeah, we'll give him some shine.
I mean, 15 points in back-to-back games here with the Mavs.
It kind of looks like he's the reason why Quentin Grimes was expendable.
Right. He's the one that is replacing Quentin Grimes, not Caleb Martin.
Not Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin is here to play small ball 3 and like focus on defense and have a cheap contract that we can have while Kyrie, Anthony Davis end their careers, which could be in 2 years.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited about Max Christie, but let's not start throwing him in the trade machine just yet.
No, not yet. It's too late for that, Nico. Dallas Buyers Club.